Hey guys, we're gonna be doing some compound interest questions with the use of the TI-Nspire. Um, I'm very inspired to make this video because I think it's gonna save you a tremendous amount of time when doing these kind of questions in exams or in any test. So I want to spend a little time to talk about this. So we're gonna get down straight into three different questions. And please make sure you try this on your own calculator as well as you get through these questions, all right? So if you look at the first question, it's about Maya investing $12,500 into a savings account. And interest rate has been paid out as 4.8. It says it's nominal interest rate, which means that inflation is not taken into consideration. If inflation is given to you, then you just need to subtract the inflation rate from the nominal interest rate, and that should give you the interest rate that we will be using for the question. Okay, so the question is looking at how many years it will take for investment to double in value. One thing to take note of is that interest rate will be compounded monthly, which is obviously highlighted in bold as well. So let's get cracking with this question. Okay, so once you turn on the calculator, what we need to do is you just click onto menu. You could just add the calculator. Just go back to menu again. Choose algebra. Oh, sorry. Choose finance, and you want to click option 1, which is finance solver. So and we're going to get down into some of these terminologies that the finance solver has come up with in order for you to solve this question, and I'll kind of explain what these actually mean. But the good thing is that your calculator has given you an explanation of what each of these actually represent. So N is going to be the number of payments. Your calculator is always going to express the number of payments in terms of the number of years. The other calculators actually don't do so, but it's fine. But just take note that the Inspire always do the number of payments in terms of years, so that's something that you need to take note of. Now, so I'm gonna keep that as 0 for now because we are kind of expecting to find out what N is technically, which is how many years it will take for investments to double in value. So then we're going to go down to the interest rate, which is 4.8. That's pretty clear cut. The present value is how much Maya investing into this savings account. Now in this case, I'm going to put a negative sign, and I'll put 12,500 for this because if Maya is investing money, there is basically what we call a cash outflow, because obviously she needs to fork out money to put into this savings account, and that's why we put this as a negative value to represent this negative cash outflow. The PMT, this is something you can disregard because in the context that we're given for compound interest in our course, there is no repayments that she needs to make. She's just investing this amount of money into a savings account. It's a one-off payment, so you can always treat PMT to be 0. Remember, PMT is just the number of repayments that she needs to make, but there is no repayments in this context, and just treat this as 0. Now future value is how much are we expecting out from this investment, which is double in value. So we put 25,000 as this one. Again, we're going to put this as a positive value because this is what Maya is hoping to get out of this investment, and this should be a cash inflow, so it should be a positive number in this case. PPY, you can literally just treat, you can always put this as 1 to save the hassle, which is basically the number of payments that is being made in a year. I think this will be easier if you put this as 1 because by default it's basically 1, so we are assuming that there's only 1 payment made per year, and it's quite obvious this is just a one-off payment from Maya, so let's just keep this as 1. And CPY is basically the interest that's being compounded in a year, and since this is compounded monthly, so which means that CPY should be 12. Okay, and once you have put in all these little numbers, we're going to go back to N because that's what we need to find. All you need to do is just press enter, and you're going to get the number of full years that this investment is going to double in value, which is obviously going to be 15 years. we're not going to take decimals because the question asks for full years. 14 years is a bit too little because it hasn't reached 14.46, so 15 years would be the correct answer. Now, how do we show the workings for this in the exams? Is you literally just tell me what is N, what is I, PV. You could just follow this sequence of values that's being put on the calculator and just show me all these numbers as part of your workings, and that should give you full credit for this question. Okay, so we're going to move on to question 2, which is about Liam and his child university fund. We'll do the same thing again. He is investing 50,000. He's going to let it grow to 75,000 6 years from now. We're going to find the interest rate if the interest is compounded quarterly. So in this case, we're just finding the interest rate, which is finding I. So for N, I'm just going to put this to be 6 years for now, because N is always regarded as the number of years in the TI-Nspire. Then the interest rate, we can just put this as 0 for now, because that's what we want to find. PV, I'm just going to put this as negative 50,000. Okay, because there's a cash outflow. PMT, leave it as 0. FV would be 75,000. PPY, leave it as 1. CPY, since it's compounded quarterly, I'll put 4. Oops. And then I'll scroll up again. I'll go to the interest rate, press enter, and you're going to get the interest rate, which is about 6.82%. Okay, so that's going to be the interest rate that we're looking at for this question.